In this problem, we are given 4 trigonometric ratios and we need to find out their respective value. Let us begin. We'll start with our first one. Here we are given cosecant of 390 degree. Now 390 degree, we can also break it down as 360 degrees plus 30 degrees. The reason why we wrote in this particular fashion, because we can now rewrite 360 as a multiple of 90. So that means we have 4 times 90 degree plus 30 degrees. Here, this is an even multiple of 90 degrees. So whenever we have an even multiple of 90 degree, then our cosecant function stays as a cosecant function. Then we drop that 4 times 90 degree and we only use the angle 30 degree. So that means cosecant of 390 reduces to cosecant of 30. That means value will be the same. But then again, we'll also have to take care of the sign. For that, we'll go to our quadrant system. So we have our first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and our fourth quadrant. All we have to do is remember the mnemonic A, S, T, C. So A means all trig functions are positive. S means the sine and the cosecant function will be positive. In the third quadrant, T stands for tangent and cotangent. And in the fourth quadrant, we have cosine and secant. So these are going to be positive. Everything else will be going to be negative in the respective quadrant. Now, coming to our problem, we have 4 times 90 degrees. That means we are in the fourth quadrant. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we are also adding 30 degrees to it, which will take us back to the first quadrant where everything is positive. So that means our final answer is going to be positive. Now, what is the value of cosecant of 30 degrees? So that's simply 2. The first problem is done. Moving on to the second problem. Now, we have cotangent of 570 degrees. Now, how can we write or express 570 degrees as a multiple of 90 degrees? So we take 570 degrees and divide it by 90. So we have 90 times 6. So 90 times 6, that's 540. We have a remainder of 30, which means we can break down 570 degrees as 6 times 90 degrees. And to it, we are going to add the remainder, which is 30 degrees. Again, we have an even multiple of 90 degrees, so our cotangent function stays as cotangent. So we're cotangent of 30 degrees. Now coming to the sign, so 6 times 90 means we are in the sixth quadrant. So sixth quadrant means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth quadrant means we are in the second quadrant. But then again, we are adding 30 degrees to it, which will take us to the third quadrant. Now in the third quadrant, tangent and cotangent are positive. So we started out with cotangent function. So its value is going to be positive. So we have positive cotangent of 30. So cotangent of 30 that has a value square root of 3. Fine. Now coming to the third problem. So in the third problem, we have tangent of 480 degrees. 480 degrees will be 5 times 90 degrees. So that's 450 degrees and we are still short of 30 degrees. So that gives us 5 times 90 plus 30. So this is how we can break down 480 degrees. Now we have an odd multiple of 90 degrees. So whenever we have an odd multiple of 90 degrees, then tangent will change to cotangent. So we have cotangent of 30 degrees. Now coming to the sign, so 5 times 90 means we are in the fifth quadrant. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth quadrant means we are in the first quadrant, but we are adding 30 degrees to it, which will take us to the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, only sine and cosecant are positive. Everything else is negative. So we have negative cotangent of 30. So this is going to give us a value negative square root of 3. Finally, coming to our fourth problem, we have cosine of 270 degrees. So we can break down cosine 270 as 3 times 90. So we need the theta, so we will just add 0 degrees to it. Fine. Now we have an odd multiple of 90 degrees, so cosine will become sine. So we have sine 0 degrees. Fine. Now, we have to also check for in which quadrant this particular value lies. So here we have 3 times 90, which means we are in the third quadrant. So we have first quadrant, second quadrant, and then the third quadrant. So since we are adding only 0 to it, that simply means that we are still in the third quadrant. Now in the third quadrant, tangent and cotangent are positive. That means the value of cosine is going to be negative. So we have negative sine 0 degree, but sine 0 being 0, well, our final answer is going to be 0.